Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you how I took this chisel with all its imperfections, was able to sharpen it up and get it sharp enough to do this and this. Come check out how I did it. A little while ago I offered to sharpen a set of chisels for one of my friends, and I'm going to show you how I sharpened the one that was in the worst condition. You can see here there's some rust kind of pitting in the face of it. You have these huge chunks at the top, and it was just in bad shape. The first thing I'm going to do is actually just mark a line square across the front of the chisel, and I'm going to mark out the area that is just completely wrecked that I can't use anymore. I'm going to take this over to my bench grinder. This is my first time actually using this. I just bought it recently, and I'm going to use this to just get rid of all that material that was covered with that Sharpie mark on the chisel. I work slowly so that I don't overheat the tool, and eventually I'm able to remove all that material. Now it looks pretty good, but the only problem is the tool is now completely dull. You can see how thick that cutting edge is. So now what I need to do is work on grinding away that bevel so that the front and the back of the chisel meet in a fine edge. I take some time to find the angle that I want, resting the tool on the tool rest, and then I actually mark a line with the Sharpie where that tool rests on the tool rest. And then once I have that line marked out, I take a little bit of tape, wrap that around at that line. And so now what I can do is actually just reference with that tape off the tool rest, and that ensures I'm gonna have a consistent angle and I can just use that as a marker. So again, just slowly but surely grinding away the material on the bevel of this chisel. Again, it's very easy to overheat a tool doing things like this. So I just kind of work slowly, and you can see here I've made some progress. And then again, just kind of back on the grinding wheel. And what I'll do is after a couple passes, after like one or two passes, I'll take some time and dip the iron into a bit of water. You can see me doing this here. And this is just, again, to ensure that the tool doesn't overheat. And then again, just back to the grinding wheel, going very slowly just to make sure I don't overheat the tool. And eventually I'm able to get it to a point where the bevel on the front meets the back with a fine cutting edge. There's no longer a blunt surface. And now it's time to head over to the diamond stones. I'm using my flat diamond stone to ensure that the back of the chisel is completely flat, especially along that cutting edge. And you can see here, just after a little while of taking this chisel to the flat diamond stone, you can see the spots that are just starting to get polished. So I'm really thankful right here. You can see it's kind of towards the edge, and that's exactly where we need to be removing material, because that's the part that's going to be cutting. And so once I have kind of material removed along that whole cutting edge, then I'm able to move to the next grit of stone. So I just continue to remove material, and then I check, and you can see there's a bit more that's polished, and then I go back to the stone and keep going like that again until there's material that's shiny along that full cutting edge. And once that's done, I'm able to move over to the next diamond stone, which is a bit more fine. And here we're just about there. And again, you can kind of see how the chisel, even though it appears to be completely flat when you get it, it's not actually completely flat, and this is going to help that process. So here I am moving over to the finer grit of stone, and this just makes it a bit more polished, a bit more smooth. If you think about what a chisel is doing when it's cutting something, it's getting in between the fibers of wood, and so the thinner and the kind of more fine your cutting edge is, the easier it is for it to get through those fibers of wood. And I'm pretty pleased with this. And so after that second diamond stone, I move over to the strop, and this is just a white kind of mirror polish compound, and what you can see here is it really gives a polish to that back edge of the tool. And once the back is done, we work on the bevel on the front, and to help with this, I got an angle guide set to 25 degrees, and this just gives me a consistent angle as I remove material from the bevel edge of the chisel. I just do this for a little bit, and just after that amount of removal, you can see that fine line across the very edge of the tool. And this is exactly what we want to see. We just want to remove a bit of material along that edge, really polish up that edge, because again, the cutting part of the chisel is where the back of the chisel meets the front of the chisel, just on that very fine edge. And so again, just polishing that up, making it nice and fine and smooth is what we want to do. And then once it's been on both stones, it's over the strop. And again, this white mirror compound, it's basically a very fine abrasive, and it's just removing material in a very fine manner so that you get a nice mirror polish. And it's a very smooth and very fine edge that we're putting on the tool at this point. The reason that the compound's getting darker is because that's actually the metal from the chisel that's getting in there. You can see just the amazing mirror polish on this chisel, which means it's ready to start cutting stuff. It's amazing to think we took this chisel that was looking like this, we turned it into something that looks like this, and now it's time to test it out. Having a sharp chisel is always so much fun. This is the French side of my manual for my bench grinder, so I figured I could spare this, but just look at the way that it just effortlessly slices through this paper, especially here. I decided to try even just a little piece of paper and just how it goes through. This is a hard wood, and this is just going through the end grain. You can see just the way that it curls up even with the end grain there. And then this is just for fun, some soft wood that it's just amazing too how smooth the surface of that wood feels after a sharp chisel's cut it away. So again, this is a lot of fun. Got some more to sharpen, but glad you came along for the ride. Until next time, take care.